Brenda is a sharp-tongued high school girl who won't let anyone look down on her. Her defiant and provocative attitude leads to a horrific consequence when a local gang led by the thug, Jake, brutally rapes and beats her deaf-mute sister, Heather, right at school. The police have no leads, so the law does nothing, but Brenda has no intention of letting this slide. Movies about so-called vigilantes, ordinary people who take up arms to restore justice themselves, became popular in the 70s after the success of Death Wish with Charles Bronson. Around the same time, another subgenre emerged, known as rape and revenge. Gritty, brutal stories about women avenging their own violation, which were both feminist and exploitative in nature. This trend was kicked off by Wes Craven's cult classic, The Last House on the Left, and truly popularized by I Spit on Your Grave, which was banned in some countries for a long time. Savage Streets is a product of the fusion of these two trends, amplified by elements of exploitation horror about street gangs and school violence that became popular in the early 80s. The film is extremely simple but surprisingly effective and even, in its own way, intelligent. The filmmakers somehow managed to seamlessly blend scenes of naked girls fighting in the shower with discussions of poetry and literature class, and a social commentary directed at the older generation, whose silent indifference sets the cycle of violence in motion. This last point in Savage Streets is subtly but very clearly embodied in the figure of the school principal, played by John Vernon. We first see him in a scene where he sternly confronts Jake's gang. He's not afraid, he speaks from a position of strength, and he's very clear about where he stands. The twist comes later when he treats Brenda exactly the same way, refusing to investigate what happened to her sister or support the victim. It turns out he doesn't hate evil itself. He hates anything that doesn't fit into his worldview or disrupts his established order. It's a very sharp observation. Overall, Savage Streets is full of these small, seemingly insignificant details that add depth to the story and ultimately made it a cult film. Like that literature class where a young teacher seriously analyzes a vulgar little poem as poetry, or the scenes depicting the friendship between Brenda and her classmates, as well as her tender affection for her younger sister. The latter, incidentally, is played by future Scream Queen Linnea Quigley, who is surprisingly innocent and pure here, especially in contrast to her later image and iconic role in The Return of the Living Dead. And this is all while Savage Streets is pure exploitation, packed with sex and violence and heightened beyond reality. In the world of this film, the streets are absolute chaos, human life is cheap, and high school girls dress like strippers and smoke right in class. This is the stuff exploitation is made of, and before Brenda goes out for revenge, we first see her naked in the shower. But for the filmmakers, these elements aren't the end goal. They're a way to spice up the story and its message, to make it more appealing, edgier, to give it more flavor and color. And the audience appreciated it. Savage Streets is considered one of the best films of its kind, and one of Linda Blair's signature roles as an actress. Yes, it's certainly not The Exorcist, where Blair began her career as a child, but in a way it's no less important or significant. A rage-fueled feminist anthem from a time when women showed their power, not caring what they were wearing, or if they were wearing anything at all.